slip.
He tripped over Kevin Jankowski. And they fake it. But Pisano does not get the first down. He, in fact, gets about 7 or 8 yards up to about the 19-yard line, maybe the 18-yard line. And so Catholic Central with outstanding field position as they will just try to grind out the last 3 minutes and 7 seconds of this one.
I look for Catholic Central to try to keep the ball in the middle of the field and come back and get a field goal, because a field goal would put this one out of reach.
Well, they are low-scoring, they are hard-hitting, and they are high-energy football games, and that is what we have seen in this one here at Wisner Stadium. And again, we look forward to coming back here next year and maybe making it an annual event. And we hope that you folks along our cable lines, if you will, enjoy this one. Kruger has the football, and Catholic Central will take a breather. So too will Brother Rice as the Warriors call a timeout. And now we will be able to tell you about the promo already in progress as Senator Jack Faxon takes you behind the headlines of some of today's most interesting and controversial issues with his show, Capitol Report. This week, the Senator and his guests talk about teacher certification. Tune in to Capitol Report with Senator Jack Faxon on LO11, where we bring television home. And special hellos and thank yous to all the folks out there that have not viewed LO11 Sports and our high school football game of the week. I know we have a lot of new viewers, some of the Rice and Catholic Central folks that have not had a chance to see us, and we hope that they enjoyed what we did for them, or the way we did it anyway. And, will join us for some of our other football coverage.
Well, it's always great to be part of a big event, and this is definitely one of the big events in high school football. Probably other than the state championship game, this is the biggest thing going. Even a lot of times bigger than the Prep Bowl because of the great rivalry between these two institutions.
I want to remind you once again also that we will we'll have the Battle of Bloomfield next week as Bloomfield Hills Lasser will take on West Bloomfield. We'll have that one from Lasser High School, and that game will be seen as usual in our time slots of Sunday and Wednesday at 7:30 on LO11. 2.5 to go. Catholic Central deep in Rice territory. Owens will go to the outside. Got a good downfield block from who else but Lee Kruger. And he gets it inside the 15 down to about the 13-yard line. And so it'll be 3rd down and about 6 yards to go. And we have not checked the timeout situation. I think Rice has one more.
Well, Catholic Central is going to come back to the middle of the field. You saw them take the pitch, and Kruger was the lead block. And it's one of those where, as a coach, you say, well, if we can get the first down or the touchdown, fine. But what we're going to do is we're going to come back and we're going to run the ball into the middle of the field because we have an outstanding field goal kicker, and his field goal is going to put the end of the game's going to be over when he kicks it.
I think I just disconnected myself here, but we are in a situation where this game really, Frank, has lived up to the expectations that everybody had of it. It was going to be a low-scoring, high-intensity, high-defensive game, but I think maybe people might have gotten a little bit of the bad impression in the first half when the turnovers were coming fast and furious. There were 6 of them in the first half. Others passing, I think part of it was the fact that a lot of the areas where he was throwing the football from was just a bad area for traction, and you just don't practice on fields like that.
Well, I also think if you're a Catholic Central defensive back, you have the luxury of knowing they're not going to run against that line of yours.
Owens this time is wrapped up and thrown down by Kerry Mitchell. A no-gainer that time, and the clock continues to run. We're at the 2:10 mark. It is 4th down, and obviously, well, let's not be obvious about it. Let us see if they're going to bring on Pete Elizovic, and we will he will, I should say, try to put this game out of reach.
Well, it almost looks like they're going to let the clock run down and take the penalty because of his foot, the 5 yards isn't going to make a difference. No, they're going to take a timeout before the penalty. But they're trying to buy as much time as they could to set that up. There's no reason to give the ball back to Brother Rice with a lot of time on the clock. So they took their full, 20 or 25 seconds and then took their timeout. And Now they're going to come in with the field goal kicker.
Let me ask you a question, Frank. I really didn't scour the schedule of Brother Rice, but I have. We do know that Catholic Central's played a couple of very tough teams so far this year. Number one, Ypsilanti, who's always tough, and also last year's Class A state champs in Ann Arbor Pioneer, and they have beaten them both. So it seems to me that, well, they have had a little more difficult schedule than maybe Rice has had. I don't think that makes a difference, but that is something that should be considered.
Well, Brother Rice, you know, in the league has played the same teams. They opened up with Flint Powers, which is a definite state contender each year, and handle them very easily. And I think on the strength of a couple of those wins, and they've been winning by bigger numbers than Catholic Central, gave them a higher rating. But I agree, Catholic Central has probably played a tougher schedule up to this point, and they also have a lot of people back from a team that went to the state finals last year, and that gives you a lot of composure in big games.
Well, Lazovic will kick. The line of scrimmage will be the 19-yard line. He'll be kicking it out of the Chris Johnston hole. It'll be a 29-yard field goal attempt. It will probably now be a first down. Well, I don't know if you can coach that particular type of a situation.
Well, what you do is you come in and you change your cadence. Whatever you've been using, if you've got a smart, experienced squad like Catholic Central has, you go and you change your cadence. You've seen Brother Rice do it. Coach Fracassa, after timeouts, has usually used a different cadence and has drawn Catholic Central offsides. Here was, you know, Catholic Central returned the favor, came with a different cadence and drew them offside. Now the question is, you know, does it become a first down? They're going to walk that off the 5 yards right there at the chains, and they call it a first down. And Catholic Central has pretty much put a lock on this one.
Well, that puts the final nail in the coffin. We're hoping after this game is over with to talk to, I don't know if Frank has any other ideas than Chris Johnston and Lee Kruger, but those have been the two strong guys. And then when you're talking to Kruger, you're talking to offense and defense.
Well, they definitely have been the bright points of the game today for Catholic Central.
And it is Johnston with the football, trying to wind things down.
Well, Brother Rice either has one timeout left or none. Either way, this game's going to be history.
Well, one game that is in the future, and that is West Bloomfield and Lasser. It's an MSA showdown, and as we mentioned, we'll have it for you next week right here on LO11. Couple teams, hopefully, that will be healthy, wealthy, and give us a good football game from Lasser next week. Lee Kruger, head down, touchdown! Lee Kruger's second touchdown of the football game comes with 1:10 to go.
It's his third touchdown of the football game.
That is only his second that I've written down, though, so try that one again.
Well, it looks like Brother Rice might have let down a little bit here. When they got the first down, and it took the starch out of their sails, and Kruger, you know, the strength of the Catholic Central football team is Lee Kruger, and he just bowls his way into the end zone.
Extra point attempt is good. So Kruger goes in from, what are we going to call it, Frank, about 6 yards away. And he has now 7 touchdowns on the season and 1:10 to go. Well, this game is going to be one of those scores, no indication of how tight this football game was. And I think both coaches really are not going to have to do too much going back to the drawing board.
Well, you know, they run solid programs. They know what they want to do. They know coming into this game that unfortunately one of them has to lose. Now, something that may happen because of the way the Prep Bowl is set up, Catholic Central and Brother Rice could play one another again in the Prep Bowl. And if Brother Rice were to come back and win, that would probably knock both of them out of the playoffs, out of the state playoffs.
Whew. You don't want to see that happen.
No, not when you've played as well as Catholic Central has all season. You'd hate to see them on the last game of the year get knocked out of the playoffs.
Boy, he has really shown a foot today. That is, of course, Lazovic, and it goes right through the end zone. And you got to believe that this young man is fired.